Breaking up is hard to do, as they say, but when you tell your ex that you're breaking up with them and they're like, okay, you say, we can be friends, and they're like, okay, they don't come across as angry about the breakup, nor do they seem torn up about it either. The response is generally positive but also lacks any emotion whatsoever. If you don't know anything about attachment styles, you're left wondering, what do I have to do to get a reaction from my ex? But if you know about attachment styles, you know you're dealing with a dismissive avoidant. Not angry about the breakup and not devastated about it either, at least not on the outside. Just calm, cold, and distant. It is frustrating to love a dismissive avoidant because they don't seem as invested in the relationship as you are. You end up doing most of the work in the relationship, reaching out, asking them how they are doing, arranging dates, pointing out the issues in the relationship, and trying to make the relationship work. They will reach out once in a while, but if you don't reach out for days, even weeks, they will not bother to reach out to check if you are okay. Sometimes you go on for weeks without seeing each other. But when things are good with a dismissive avoidant, they're really, really good. They're fully attentive and engaged. They want to see you. They want to go out on dates. You're invited to parties. And your dismissive avoidant partner seems open and vulnerable. They're even open to talking about the future, where they want to live, what they want to see themselves doing, the kind of things that people in relationships talk about. But even as open as they are, you can feel that they're holding back, letting you in, but keeping you at the distance at the same time. But at least they're letting you in, and you feel good, you feel loved, you feel wanted. But those moments of connection are few and far between. Every now and then, dismissive avoidants push you away. They won't be by themselves and get irritated when you contact them or try to spend time with them. And as much as you love them, you feel like you don't have much of a fighting chance with them. You tell them that you're breaking up with them. You're not really breaking up with them. You just want to see if they care, if they'll beg you to stay, if they'll fight for you. But no reaction. So you think that maybe no contact will make them realize just how much they love you and miss you. So you go no contact. 1 week goes by, nothing. No reaction to you not reaching out anymore. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, still no text or phone call from your ex. 2 months, 3 months, no contact, and not a word from your ex. No knock at the door like in the movies. Finally, you break the no contact rule and reach out with one of those "I want to share with you something interesting that happened to me" kind of texts. You know your ex will probably not respond, or at least not respond right away. And the waiting for the text brings back all the emotions and feelings of the breakup, like when it first happened. You thought no contact and some space and distance would help, and it did, until you reached out. If you didn't know this before, I'm telling you now. No contact does nothing or very little to get a reaction from a dismissive avoidant. Dismissive avoidants are not wired like that. They are fiercely independent and learned early in childhood that people don't owe them anything, and they don't owe anyone anything, not even a response. If you're lucky, you may get a text from a dismissive avoidant, usually just a hi kind of text, and of course you're excited to hear back from them. You've heard and read that dismissive avoidants don't initiate contact. So if your dismissive avoidant is initiating contact, it must mean something, right? But you don't want to appear needy by responding right away. So you wait for another 30 minutes, maybe an hour or two before you respond. And then you wait for them to text you back. But you wait hours, days, weeks, and nothing. Sometimes contact even picks up back and forth for a few days, and then nothing. If you love a dismissive avoidant and want a relationship with them, it helps not only to understand and accept that this is who they are, but also to learn how to work with their attachment style. Don't wait until the breakup. And here are some things that you need to know. Number 1, Meet as many of your own needs as you possibly can. When a dismissive avoidant sees that you are equally independent and not dependent on them for your happiness, they will be less likely to need space and distance from you. They know that when they need to be by themselves, you are not going to try to intrude in their space or violate the boundaries that they have set up for themselves. They will be more willing to re-engage because they don't expect you to complain about how them distancing hurt you and made you unhappy. And if you want a dismissive avoidant to do something, be as direct and specific as you possibly can. Direct and to the point is a language dismissive avoidants understand so well. Number 2, don't break up with a dismissive avoidant just to test them. One thing you can't say about a dismissive avoidant is that they're not honest, if that's the right word to use. They say exactly what they think and sometimes come across as rude and insensitive. They expect the same honesty from others. So if you break up with them, they take that as your honest truth. They may not like it, but they will accept it because they believe that it is what you want. If later on you change your mind about breaking up with a dismissive avoidant because you saw that they did not react the way you hoped they would, you better come up with a really good explanation as to why you changed your mind. The good thing is, if your explanation makes sense, a dismissive avoidant will accept it and things will go on as normal. Number 3, don't play mind games with the dismissive avoidant. Dismissive avoidance emotions are dialed down so low that they almost feel nothing. They make you miss me games that often work with somebody with attachment anxiety, like an anxious preoccupied or a fearful avoidant. Don't work with the dismissive avoidant. And they may even miss you, but if they think you're playing a mind game, they will not respond because they don't want you to think that they are stupid enough to fall for mind games. Number 4, if you decide to do no contact, make sure you understand that it is about you. My advice is always not to do no contact unless you're doing it to move on, or if your relationship was so toxic that further contact is destructive to both of your mental states and to the relationship. In any other situation, especially when you had a relatively good relationship or a strong friendship, no contact makes no sense. But I also understand that not everybody is emotionally resilient enough to withstand the emotions of a breakup or can compartmentalize enough to be able to maintain contact even while they deal with their emotions. If you need some distance from a dismissive avoidant, don't expect them to reach out when they miss you, because they most likely will not. And when you reach out to them later, understand that they will respond on their terms and not yours. Is it fair to you? No, it's not. But it is what it is, meaning that this is their attachment style. If loving a dismissive avoidant makes you more unhappy than happy, cut your losses and move on. Your dismissive avoidant ex is not going to suddenly change because you're not contacting them at all or not contacting them as much. But if you're not ready to move on, at least not yet, your best chance of attracting back a dismissive avoidant and making the relationship work is to become securely attached. Becoming securely attached does not completely protect you from the frustrations of loving a dismissive avoidant or make you some kind of supermate. What it does is create stability in the relationship and provide a dismissive avoidant with the secure base that they need to learn to be comfortable with being close to someone they love.